Welcome, and today is one of those videos that comes very spontaneously. I was doing an Instagram live and I was talking about something completely different, and this idea and this notion just came almost through me as if like a channel through me. So I really wanted to share this information today and get it onto a YouTube video. So it hopefully gives you some insight, because it really uplifted me and the 600 people that were on the transmission when we did this Instagram live. So the following video is going to talk to you about the currency of our planet going forward and what I believe the missing piece of the jigsaw is. And how I arrived here was this. The world we're experiencing right now, the transitions we're going through, our new understandings, even breakthroughs in science and quantum physics, and understanding the teachings of the great sages and those who've walked before us and lit the path towards our own enlightenment. The truth is, we know absolutely 0% about what reality is. And that at first can feel quite soul destroying, because you believe that we all have this purpose. We're seeking to know, we're seeking to understand why we're here, what this is, what the purpose of this is. What are the necessary things I need to do to find my enlightenment, to find the thing that I'm supposed to be, to embody that which I am supposed to be in the highest order. And it's soul destroying in the fact that none of us actually know. And we sort of went all around this topic, and I was talking about, the fact that we can only experience awareness based on this realm, not the vastness of everything, and we only see a very small amount of our visible light spectrum. And there were many things we talked about. And it sort of led me all around to this point where I thought, well, what is our purpose then? Why are we here? And what are we doing here? And it just hit me like a train. And if you think about every single thing that you would call an out of body or an out of life experience, be that through people in deep meditation, through years of practice, through people taking plant medicine, through the discussions of the yogis and the saints and the enlightened ones, through to people having near-death experiences and things like astral projection and astral travel. The only story that really adds up is they come back and they describe this nature of pure love, pure unconditional love that's detached from all bodily functions, that doesn't rely on the individualized I, the ego, the person, the Phillip, whoever it may be. Pure, powerful, unresolved, undefined love. And in that love is the absence of all fear, the absence of all positionality, the absence of all ego, the absence of all desire, the absence of all wanting. So I wanted to get into that today and really explain this a bit more on this video. It's going to be an instructional video. I think you'll find it incredibly useful. And I'm going to really talk to you about the operating system of love that we have in our society and why it's conditional and why it's not really true love. Also, what unconditional love is and how that's the closest thing to understanding what we are, why we're here, what this is all about is. And if you stay to the end, there's a real light bulb moment that just lit me up so much. And if you can understand it and conceptualize it, it will change your life. So let's lock in. Okay, so the first thing I wanted to cover, this document is entitled The Great Misunderstanding We Have About Love. And trust me, when you understand this, it's going to change everything for you. This is not just about recontextualizing love, but it's how it directly can affect your life and can impact those all around you. So when I say most humans were taught love with conditions, this is what I mean. we were really taught how to trade and manipulate and create better outcomes for ourselves. And you will have experienced this from your early childhood. Love became very conditional about behaving and being a good student, achieving, don't be too much, muting ourselves, don't be inconvenient. And you were rewarded and given love on that basis. And that love, whilst it does have some positive energy to it, it has conditions within it, which are about fear, about lack, about not having, about safety. And that's not what love is. So anything that's expressed as that is not truly love. So what we began to do as a population and a world is we internalized a false question and a false narrative, because love became about being approved. It became about sacrificing our existence for the good of others, which is not always bad, but this is the essence of this video. This transmission is going to really explain something. And love became compromising, settling down, being in situations that were not particularly good for us because we were holding on to the love of a person, which I'm sure you've all had in some different way. Love about not losing the other. So this is why lots of relationships, not only friendships, but parent-child relationships, romantic relationships, they can feel heavy and they can feel misaligned, because it's about people feeling anxious and performative within love. Because love is not supposed to be hard. Love is supposed to be the most effortless thing we do. It's supposed to be free and whole and abundant and effortless. It's because what we're doing is we're performing. We're not actually loving. We're negotiating safety in our reality. And this is unbelievable. And I've just realized that it's like almost Valentine's Day, and I did not know that. So thank you, universe and divine, for that interjection and confirmation of this training. So let's talk about love as humans experience it, and the things that we go through in our meaningful and loving relationships. And if we're being completely honest and stripping it back, most human fear is about our destruction. It's about fear of being on our own. It's about fear of being isolated, fear of not having friends, fear of being rejected, fear of not being enough, fear of losing security and safety. And if you really dig deep into that, you'll realize the truth in that. This is why people stay in situations where they're unhappy, and people settle for less than the truth for themselves. And it's not a moral failing, it's a nervous system pattern, and it's a cultural pattern that we're supposed to go out in the world, get a relationship, get security, safety, settling down, comfort, and all of those things that we do. And the body learns to survive by being connected by those bonds, which we call love, but they're not. So the point is this is kind of the bigger point here. We're here to learn to love unconditionally. In the 3D world, we're being provided and given the conditions to understand what love isn't. Do you see the paradox? So what does that mean? Well, most of our loving acts are to impress someone, to not be rejected, to be accepted, to be confirmed, to be validated. And that's important. I get that. But you have to understand that loving people in that way has the pure essence of lack, fear, desire, of not being enough to love yourself. So you need to have that given to you by an external force or deity. And one thing that struck me through this transmission was why children and animals can feel different to us. Any parent on this journey will understand sometimes that feeling you get with your child, especially when they're smaller and you just feel that closeness with them. Or with your animal, your dog or your cat or whatever your animal is. But you have to notice something very important, and there's a clue within it that gives us a real bit of insight. This is why children, especially very young children, the love feels different. And with dogs especially, love feels different. Why? Because there's no conditionality, there's no bargaining, there's no identity performance, it just is. There's no transactional fear of abandonment happening. It's so magical. And I'm sure if you really feel into the energy right now, you can feel that love of an animal or a child or someone that you felt so close to. Because love truly flows when it doesn't have a condition and a strategy. And this is the beginning of your reference point that we're going to talk about. And it's not about fairy tales and romance movies and the things we grew up with and what we perceived as love. And I think I'll do a sequel to this transmission about loving yourself, but really the purpose today is to help you understand something very, very powerful. And it's that unconditional love is not how you behave towards something or someone. It's your state. It's not about being nice or being compassionate or tolerating bad treatment or sacrificing yourself for the good of other people. There is some validity in that in some degrees, of course. You know, sometimes we have to make difficult decisions, etc. But unconditional love is this state where you are allowed to be exactly who you are. And it allows others to be exactly who they are without holdback. So the first part of it is it's about not resisting anything, isn't it? And it's through all spiritual practices, being myself. The most powerful version of you is you being yourself, allowing others to be exactly as they are. You don't need to abandon yourself to be loved. And this is why this warrants a whole topic on this self-concept and self-love. You cannot love freely whilst you're betraying yourself and you're betraying your own energy. So I want you to think about that. So I'm going to give you two examples. We're here to learn. And the first example is this. The 3D realm, most of our love in our society is about conditions, security, companionship, getting something. If I love you, I get something. If you love me, you get something. That's taken us so far. We had to go to that level with the level of consciousness. But you have to understand that loving in that way is part of why abundance doesn't turn up in your life. And we're going to talk about that a bit more. What we're learning now as we move into this sort of heart chakra, this higher energy, and humanity is learning to express itself in this age of energy in a different way, is conditional love in the 3D has within it limitations and lack, because it's all about desire and that which we don't have, that which we seek to be, that controlling conditions outside of us. Most love has the essence of fear when it has conditions. What I'm talking about is pure, unconditional love, which is the sage-like energy, the plant medicine, the profound near-death experience energy, where you are just free of the body and you are just pure love expressed. And the biggest thing that comes from that is that it just is pure abundance. So if you want to be so abundant in your life, the unexpected consequence is this. When you remove all fear and all conditions from love, you stop settling, you stop chasing people, you stop forcing things that aren't meant for you. And when that resistance drops, life will reorganize around that for you. And when you meet things not from an efforted or efforting love state, where you're trying to prove to everyone that you're a loving person, but you're just there, like it's all okay, like it is what it is. Like I'm it doesn't matter who you are or who you've been. I love you for how I meet you. And most importantly, loving yourself so deeply and so profoundly, loving yourself. You know what? You become very irresistible, magnetic. Opportunities will open up to you. Resources will flow. People will come closer to you based on how they feel towards you. You see, love is the most magnetic thing in the universe. And any non-human transcendent experience, the message that always comes back is pure love, pure divine love, samadhi, enlightenment, Christ consciousness, whatever it is, it's pure love. Because why? That is the only state. And that's what we're learning. So this is not about manifestation. This is not about creating more wealth for yourself. It's creating more love for you and others so you can have an amazingly abundant life, and it will happen automatically. I'll see you next time.